Okay, what we're looking at here is an image. It's a still from The Bourne Legacy, and that's Jeremy Renner jumping from a tree. Now, a personal anecdote. I actually did this. I did this. It was in Wawa. Yeah, I think it was in Wawa or Marathon, one of the two. And I was on my way home from Kelowna, and I was, jetting across the country in my turboized station wagon filled with all my stuff. So like by the time I got to Marathon that day, I was pooched, and I had to lay down somewhere, right? So I found a campground in Marathon, and then I was awoken by a police officer, probably because a lady had seen me laying there beside my car, because there was no possibility of me sleeping within the car due to the fact that there was so much stuff in it, right? So what I did is I pulled out my thermarest, I blew it up, I laid it on the grounds, and then I took my comforter, and everything was fine. A little bit scary because, well, you consider the wildlife, but I was close enough to civilization that it was more enough of a deterrence for the animals to stay away from me. Unlike Jeremy Renner. Anyways, so yeah, the officer wakes me up, and he's like, "What's going on here?" And I'm barely functioning, right? I had just been before I'd actually taken a nap. I'd been driving for most of the day. It was like 8 to 10 hours of driving across Canada, so I was done. I was saddle sore, as the quote colloquialism would say. So he's, but the problem was, of course, I drove across Canada without what was the issue? Oh yes, my license was expired. I drove across Canada with an expired license. Uh, but the officer was very accommodating, because obviously he didn't catch me in the act of driving without the expired license. The car was insured, otherwise I would have been charged for that as well. And so like he's like, and I'm like, before we have this conversation, I need to eat something, right? So I open up my tailgate, and I have like, I was like one or two things of yogurt, and I was just trying to regain my composure, and he was kind enough to let me do that. So then I was able to answer him, right? Because it's just a little bit of sugar. And then we went to the licensing office in town, the Service Ontario office in town, and like I smelt like a bag of dicks. Like I could smell myself from like 3 miles away. So I'm sitting there in the office, and like the girl behind the counter is having a conversation or whatever else, some small town stuff going on there. None of my business, right? Um, so, or it was like, at first off, I had to wait till the office opened, and then um, I went to the A&W. I had some breakfast, like an actual breakfast, and then I had to go back to the office and talk with my mother in order to get some cash going, because I was getting very thin, or skint. I was getting very skint would be the more appropriate term. Um, so that got resolved, and then I was like, okay, so now I have to walk back to the car, and so I was going to do it by as the crow flies. I was going to walk back to where my car was as the crow flies, and I go around back of the building, and there's a slope, and I see this branch, like dangling in front of me, right? And I'm like, fuck it, right? So I jump and I grab this branch, and the branch fucking breaks on me, and I land on my upper back on this slope, right? And it's thankfully I wasn't hurt, but sometimes between my scapula, I would get a crack or two. So more than likely, I did fracture a vertebrae in doing that, but I just kept going anyways. It's hilarious, isn't it? right? Because here's the thing: all you football guys, you fucking hockey guys, you rugby guys, you're all pussies in comparison to downhill mountain bikers. I gotta tell you, you gotta fucking clean up your act. There's nothing more terrifying. I'm telling you, like a downhill skier. That's as close as it gets for me. Or maybe some fool that decides that they want to be a skeleton athlete for some reason. All right, so yeah, that's the whole story. And of course, I'm watching The Born Legacy here again, um, and it's a good movie. You know, this was before Jeremy Renner was seriously injured in a production, like more than a few years, right? I can't remember exactly when he was injured. Um, when he was filming the Avengers, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but I think he's doing okay now, and so am I, right? Obviously, I'm not saying that I want to expose myself to such injuries in the future, but unfortunately, it has happened, and it wasn't because of me or because a branch broke on the tree. And some people, I'm sorry, some of you are just so stupid. You fell out of the stupid tree and you hit every branch down. Honestly, fuck's sakes, guys.